program of songs or selected songs of Dan Beatty. We first had this idea last spring that we would take this program to National Association of Teachers of Singing this next week. And then all of a sudden, Dan up and retired on us. So we decided we'd plan this for a concert for this event right here, honoring him. I'm going to say a few words because I was here when he came. And I expect this. Dr. Beatty came here in 1964, and I'd been here about 3 years at that time. And believe me, he was a fresh breath of air. We had about 3 or 4 voice majors at that time, and a few more piano majors, and it was not the same music department that we have today. But finally, we had somebody who could teach theory, composition, piano, whatever. And mainly, he could play the piano, and he could sight read. And in fact, he was so good that, he just played for everyone. He played for me about 5 or 6 recitals. He played for the choir sometimes, and all the students that wanted him to, he was just up there playing all the time. But he was the only one we had. So but he was good. Now, one of his talents is sight reading, and I'll tell you this story. What I do when I sing with him, well, I take him the music. He never looks at it. He sits down and sight reads it, and then I found out it didn't get much better after that. So I thought, what can I do about this? And so I said, Dan, I need more rehearsal. And so what I did was schedule a lot of rehearsals, and that, of course, that helped me. I needed it, and he did too. And so the performances turned out pretty good. One of Dan's greatest talents is his memory. I remember telling stories 30 years ago that I walk up to him now, and he remembers every word of what I said. And I have to be careful because he'll correct me and tell me that's not the way the story goes, you see, even though it happened to me. But what? One thing, he has. I asked him how he did this, and he says he has a memory curve. You see, and a road that just kind of goes back into history. See, and when he learns something, he just kind of puts that fact back there on that curve, and then when he learns, the Normandy invasion, 1066, he puts it there. But he doesn't just remember the dates. He remembers who the people were that did it, and everything about it. And it is a remarkable trait. And I was always trying to find something he didn't know, when we were young and here and together. And so I was working on my doctorate at Iowa, and I was studying for my comps, and I thought, I'm just about as sharp as I'll ever be right now, And so I was doing this research on 19th century performers, and I came back to the campus here for the Christmas holidays, and I thought, I'll stump him. So I said, Beatty, let me ask you a question. Do you know anything about a couple of they're related to each other, pianists by the name of, and I thought, now wait a minute, what's that name? And what I do when I read, and I don't try to pronounce a lot of foreign names, I just remember the spelling, and so I looked at that word in my mind, and I thought, and I said, their names were Moscheles. And so he said, Moscheles. And he said, no, I never heard it. And I thought, by golly, I've got him. I've got it. Finally, after all these years, I got something that he should know that he doesn't know. And so he says, wait a minute, Jones says, how do you spell that name? And I said, Moschells, Helles. And he says, Jones, that's Moschel, Ignace and Felix Moschel. And I'd pronounced it wrong. So I said, and he proceeded to tell me all about him. And I said, just shut up, I don't want to hear anything. But anyway, we're very happy. He's going to, that we're doing this tonight, he's going to do some of the accompaniments, and he's going to make some comments before every selection. And I'll turn it over to him.